Hey kids, and welcome back to Shalom Church LA. So happy to see you, and I'm glad that you're here with me again today. It's been quite a while since we last saw each other, and I do hope that you remember just a little bit of what we spoke about last time. Don't worry if you don't, I'll summarize it briefly in a little bit. So why don't you get ready, and I'll be right back. So when we last were here, we talked about Absalom, Tamar, and Amnon. They all were the children of King David. Amnon was half-brother to Absalom and Tamar, and Amnon did really bad things to Tamar. So Absalom took it upon himself to get justice on behalf of Tamar, and he sent for Amnon to be killed. And so that's where the story ended, but the story really doesn't end there. We continue today in the part where Absalom has to run away after he kills his brother. He runs away because he doesn't know how King David, his father, would react. So he's exiled, he's sent away, and time passes by, and King David's advisors tell him, hey, you should let him come back. And so David agrees. David agrees to allow him to return to Jerusalem. He had ran off to this place called Geshur, and so he sends for him at Geshur and returns to Jerusalem. So every time that Absalom would try to speak to his father David, King David wouldn't look Absalom in the face, he would only hear his voice. And this didn't sit well with Absalom. So after trying to get his dad's full attention, he finally did. And when he finally did get his attention, he started to get more involved in the work that his father did. So Absalom started getting involved and putting interest in the work of his father. And the type of work was serving as sort of a judge. So the people of Israel would come to the king, in that case it was King David, and they would tell him their complaints or their needs, and then King David would see what solution was best for everybody. So Absalom thought that he would be the best person for that job, and so he started doing it. He helped people resolve their issues. He provided solutions for the people, and soon the people of Israel started to like him. So soon after Absalom had been involved in doing this type of work, the devil put something in his head. Absalom wanted to be king of Israel, but the problem was that there was already a king, and his name was King David. And so Absalom decided that he was going to go to Hebron, but he lied to King David, and he told him that he was going to Hebron to pay a promise that he had made to God. So Absalom sent spies to the tribes of Israel, and he also ordered them to proclaim that he was king of Hebron. So many people started to believe this rumor. It was just a rumor. It was not real, but people started to believe it. And soon enough, all of Israel was calling Absalom king of Israel. And so King David, which is Absalom's father, he came to know about this. And soon enough, he had to run away from his home because he knew that Absalom was coming back for him and for all the people who served him to kill him and take his throne. So I'm not sure how familiar you are with the story of David. But this David that we are talking about, though, I think the only David in the Bible is the same David that killed Goliath, that giant, and that same David that killed hundreds of thousands of men before he was king. So David was a great warrior. He was very, very skilled. He knew his way around war. And so while he was running away from his son Absalom, he also had men who were loyal to him, who had fought with him in the past, and he had an army to himself ready. And so King David was smart, and he sent his counselor to Absalom basically to spy on him. And so what this counselor would do is he would counsel Absalom trying to gather information from what his plans were for his father, and he would send his son to tell David all about the plans that Absalom had for King David and the people who were with him. So eventually they meet up like in the middle of a forest, Absalom's army versus David's army, and they have a war. When David comes to realize that the trap for Absalom is set and he's about to be defeated by his army, he tells his army general to take it easy on Absalom. He didn't want Absalom to die. He loved Absalom very much and he wanted to let him live. But these generals and these men in David's army, they disobeyed him and they killed Absalom at the end. There are many lessons in this story, but I want us to hold two near and dear to our hearts and always remember. The first one is that we can never undo what God has already done. We cannot ever wish something to come to be. You see, King David was chosen by God. He was anointed by God. So when Absalom thought that he can overthrow his father as king, he was wrong because he wasn't chosen by God. God had already chosen David. And so this is why the story ends the way that it ends, because Absalom couldn't undo what God had already done. And the second thing that I would like for you to hold in your heart and always remember is that we should always be merciful towards those who harm us. You see, King David could have said, kill Absalom when you find him. I don't ever want to see him again. He betrayed me. He hurt me. He was persecuting me. He wanted to kill me. But no, King David didn't do that. King David loved his son Absalom no matter what Absalom had done, even if Absalom had tried to remove him from his kingdom. So always keep those two things in mind. So that's it for today, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me again. I'll see you again next time at the same place. And don't forget to practice mercy. Don't forget to pray to God every single day. Obey your parents and have a good week. God bless you. Bye.